I do remember buying the ticket of Parvarish in Black. It was my first experience of any kind of corruption that I have been subjected to. I remember being taken down into this alleyway where cars were parked, and this guy wouldn't look at me, and he kept saying, "Nikalo, kya panch chahiye, panch chahiye, you know." And I was like, "Look at me, listen, are you going to take my money and run away?" So I was introduced to buying black tickets because of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. My childhood is that, and then it was like it was understood if a Mr. Bachchan film came that this is the thing that the family has to do together. And the first time I got related to him is, in a strange way, was I used to do acting myself a little bit. I still try to. And I remember I was doing a play which was called Incubus, which I had written, which means a she-devil. And I was to play this guy who comes and takes out the spirit out of the woman. So it was one of those classroom, intra-class plays. And I was to have this look of one of the guys who will be like you know how they take out the spirits. You know, I remember I was told once that he wears Azaro perfume. Till date I use an Azaro perfume. Now it could be, you know, now I read about myself sometimes and 99% of those things are not right, but there's this one little fan who still uses Azaro, and I've never asked Mr. Bachchan, did he use Azaro perfume? But I still use it, you know, so I'm attached to him like that. And then the period when I came to Mumbai was the period when he went on for his sabbatical. So I've even seen maybe perhaps the last or second last film before he did those 4 years of not working, Indrajit. You know, so and it was like this when I came to Mumbai. My people were introducing. I said, "But I have to see a Bachchan film." So I think in a way, the first trial I've seen in a trial theatre at Dimple Theatre is also of Mr. Bachchan. And then the first time I felt I'm a star is when Filmfare asked me to do a photograph and an interview with him when he wasn't really working. It's very strange that when I stood next to him, and I'm a gentle person, but I didn't want to put my hand too hard on his shoulder lest I break him. I've stood in that picture behind him with my hand just about caressing his shoulder so that I don't in any which way spoil the piety, the beauty and the fragility of this wonderful human being that we've grown up watching. Two things I remember very clearly from that interview. One of them was that I said, "What do you do in your free time?" So he says, "Ek chua hai ghar mein. Main usko dhoondta rehta hu. I need to find him and fix him. You know, he's really irritating me, so I spend my spare time trying to find him." And I don't know if it ever came into the interview. And then he told me that in your time, Shah Rukh, when you become a star, your longevity and your stardom will be measured by the kind of eyeballs you will have on television, not on film screen. There will be no silver jubilees and golden jubilees. And this he was saying to me in '91, when TV hadn't come in. And I was like, I didn't want to sound stupid, so I was like, yeah, of course. I didn't understand what he meant. But now I understand, you know, the kind of vision he had, and which he was so right, you know. And of course, then he went on to do KBC himself. We all did television, at least I can say for myself, that I was from television, and he gave it the kind of respectability and, you know, status that, so I'll speak for myself only, that, you know, okay, yeah, we can do TV, you know. So a lot of beliefs youngsters had that there's no harm in trying things that you want to do, whether it is being anti-establishment, like Bachchan Saab was. Even today, like when my son turns around and he says, like, you know, we were joking and he says something to me, ki, "Baba, what is this nonsense? Rishte mein tum tumhare baap lagte hain. Naam hai Shahenshah." You know, so you remember, I use that to correct my son. But of course, it's not been working too much. So I need to ask Mr. Bachchan, did it work for Abhishek ever? Before I worked with him in a film, I think I was invited for Diwali or one of these festivals to his house. And one of the most touching things that happened was that myself, Gauri, we walked in and we were coming out, and Jay Auntie came out and she said, "You don't have a mom and dad, so I want to tell you that from today I'm your mother. And in Mumbai, you will never feel the shortage of a mother. So I'm going to be like your mother." And that was very sweet. That was extremely touching. And we don't get much time to sit down and, you know, chat, but for a person who's just come into Mumbai, finding his feet, reading interviews where people completely embarrassingly and wrongly and unjustifiably try and say things and compare actors to actors, where they must have done for me and Mr. Bachchan also, and has gone on for years. And if you're decent and educated like I am, you know, it's a moment which makes you have a huge amount of respect for the family. You know, you have to see it from the point of view of a guy who's grown up wanting to be Amitabh Bachchan. When I say this now, it sounds strange, not as an actor, but as, you know, I wanted to be anti-establishment. I wanted to be, when I saw him, I can do every scene. I can do every dance. I know every moment. Teen chakke, you know, small things I remember. So it's like, how do you say, like your parents bring you up, your school teaches you stuff, and then there is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan that you want to be like. And now when I say it, I'm not saying I wanted to be an actor like him or a star like him. It's just, I just wanted to be Amitabh Bachchan, you know. So you have to disassociate. And now for that boy to come down and his wife to tell you, I'm like your mother, for him to give me advice once on backstage, when I asked him, sir, you know, stage pe jaane se pehle, I'm a theatre actor, so was he. And I'm like, stage pe jaane se pehle aapko kaisa lagta? Because I feel all charged and spiritually very alone, and I have all this spiel about walking on stage. I've done it 1 million times, but I still need those 30 seconds. So I wanted to ask the great Mr. Bachchan. I said, before you go on stage, what is the last thing? My last thing is, I feel one with God. This is how I tell everyone. So I said, what is the last thing that you do? What do you check? What do you think? He said, Shah Rukh, the last thing before I enter on stage is check if the zippers are done. You know, that's important. That's the most important thing. And I think there's a great amount of philosophy there. You know, don't complicate it, keep it simple, just make sure the zippers are done, and you go down there and do your bit. You're an actor.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.